I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Nazaria Harris case. How could a mom not protect her daughter? Before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to my moderators. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Now, we're going to be doing a lot of backtracking in this case. We're going to be going over the transcripts in this case. Shout out to Ms. Parker and her team for getting those transcripts. So we're going to be going over the transcripts. We also are going to be backtracking. We're going to be backtracking some of the witnesses' testimony. Also, shout out to Cold Peace TV. Cold Peace TV done a demonstration a couple days ago, allegedly, and I do have to use allegedly. Nazaria's brother, Vari, has been arrested for taking the life of Nazaria's and Vari's mom, boyfriend. Drop a 1 in the chat if y'all are familiar with that. Drop a 2 if this is your first time hearing that. That's what made me do this demonstration, because if Vari is jammed up, and if it's true, we don't know what took place. So we don't want to jump to conclusions, but it makes me wonder, okay, you would think that with Nazaria and Vari's mom losing one child, you would think that she would have gotten her act together to be there for the second child. Many people believe that, and this word on the streets, that Nazaria's mom, Lady, is a setup queen. She's been setting up local dope boys, and they said she's been setting up these dope boys for years. And even the Cowardly Lion, he even spoke on a situation, and he spoke on, Lady being involved with these dope boys. It makes you wonder. Once again, it makes you wonder, what will it take? What will it take for this mom to get her act together? And some might say, she might even say it, why y'all riding down hard on me? I just lost a daughter. Well, your name has popped up once again surrounding a tragic incident involving your child. Appreciate that super sticker, Charlotte. And we can't turn a blind eye. Many of us didn't turn a blind eye with Nazaria. Now, I was one of those that did give you the benefit of the doubt. I can admit, Shank Rock was one of those that did give Lady the benefit of the doubt. However, with this recent situation involving her son, that's what makes me backtrack and say, you got some answering to do. But let's backtrack. All right, let's backtrack. Salute to the chat. I will jump down there and entertain the chat. let's backtrack and see what we missed in Jarvis's fiance testimony. We know that she mentioned Jarvis was supposed to have turned himself in. Jarvis was supposed to have turned himself in for another case, but then come to find out that he has been the #1 suspect in the Nazaria Harris case. Appreciate that super sticker, Sharon. Appreciate that super sticker. And if you would like to join the Rock Squad, if you would like to purchase a membership, my moderator, Marty, she dropped the link to the memberships. And all other moderators, make sure we're sharing the membership link in the chat. Appreciate that, Marty. But let's backtrack and let's see, is it anything that we overlook when it comes to the fiance testimony? And then, like I said, thanks to Miss Parker and the transcripts, we will be going over the transcripts as well. All right. So let's see what we may have missed.
Hey guys, my name is Harris Heller, and I've been a full-time YouTuber for over 10 years now. And if you are a YouTuber or you're
May I proceed, Judge? Yes. Thank you. Could you state your name for the record, ma'am?
Tashiana Davis.
And Ms. Davis, I want to ask you about someone by the name of Jarvis Butts. Do you know that person?
Yes.
And how do you know Mr. Butts?
He was my fiance.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you point to him and identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
She's right there with a green top on.
For the record.
Now, one thing that we can give her over Miss Annette King, I can't remember whether or not Shannon pointed right to him, but at least the fiance pointed straight to him. At least she pointed, at least she ain't try to play on nobody's top and look around like she don't see him. So 3 points to Jarvis's fiance. Kizzle says, I said from the jump, lady is too quiet, whether she high or not. And lady did do an audio interview with Roxy, and she mentioned that she wasn't going to be jumping on no platforms trying to make money off of her daughter. And listen now. Your daughter passed away. See, this is a reason why many are zooming in on you, lady. Your daughter passed away. You could have showed your face on Roxy's platform. You could have showed your face at the news. You could have showed your face at the hearing, right? And you could have spoke your piece outside of the courthouse. All the reporters would have been gladly to speak with you. To use that as a cover-up, to use that as a distraction, we're not going to let you use that as a distraction. It was a good try. I'll just say that, I don't want to come on platforms. I'll just say that I don't want to do nothing public so people won't think that I'm clout chasing. It was a good try. But how can a mother that lost her child, how can, if she comes on platforms, how can, if she shows her face on the news, how can the mother be clout chasing? I mean, how can anybody say, oh, don't pay no attention to her, she's just clout chasing? See, you got to be very careful what you intake from these people on social media as well as you got to be very careful what you intake from people, because people use all kind of excuses to try to throw you off. Kiwana came on the platform. Janelle came on the platform. Roxy started her own platform. Kenya came on the platform, right? Where's Lady? I'm just asking a general question. Where's Lady? Where's the mother of this child at? That's your child. Seems like she got something to hide. She doesn't love her child. She don't care. She only care about street life. And that's facts. Whoop, there it is. Because whenever your name come up, it's always involving the street life. I'm one of those men that will give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm one of those men that will say, maybe we riding too hard on this person. But I'm also one of those men, when I see bullshit, I'm going to call it out. This is your daughter. You failed her. We quick to call out the daddy. Now it's coming out that the daddy ain't even the real daddy. But we'll get to that later on. But if we can call out everybody else, we call out Janelle, Kiwana, Roxy, Kenya, Miss Annette, Marquita, Shannon, Jarvis. We call out all of these people. Why we can't call out Lady? And I'm just asking, wasn't Naziah with you the day before she went missing? Don't forget, Lady been out there at least since Naziah was 2. Exactly. No. Jarvis and some family members were keeping Lady drugged up. Exactly. And I'll say it to anybody, when did she go to Ohio? Good question. Lady don't get no pass with me. And I was one of those in the beginning that was giving her the benefit of the doubt. And I'll, let everybody know that. Appreciate that gifted membership, One Love. But drugs is not an excuse. You know you got children, get your ish together. I don't think she showed up to a hearing. I mean, I would have at least thought that you would have showed up at the hearing. I would have at least thought that you would have been out there, that the news reporters would have been talking to, right? Appreciate the super sticker, One Love. That wouldn't have been clout chasing. That wouldn't have been trying to get money off of your daughter's name. Remember, the judge said she didn't know his eyes, mother. So now we got this situation with Vari. Allegedly, Vari took the life of Lady's boyfriend. Word on the streets is that Lady and Vari had been setting dudes up, right? I want to speak on why wasn't there no protection for Naziah? Because remember, somebody said, I don't know if it was the Cowardly Lion, but somebody mentioned that Miss Annette, Vari got into something with some dudes, a drug dealer or older guy. And Miss Annette went and brought Vari back home. Well, why didn't Miss Annette, why wasn't nobody there to fight for Naziah? Naziah's own words when she spoke to this monster. And this is why, in my opinion, this is why I believe it's bigger than Jarvis. Appreciate the new membership, Drea. This is why, because why would this baby, Why would this baby be reaching out to this monster? She's the baby. She's reaching out to this monster, telling this monster, I ain't gonna never get out of this hellhole. Right? That says a lot right there. Where was you at, lady? Where was you at, lady? That she had to reach out to this monster and tell this monster, I ain't gonna never get out of this hellhole. Why you wasn't there? Why wasn't you there for your daughter to reach out to? You might say, but I was there, Shank. Well, out of 12 years, you knew the environment that was going on in that house. You are a product of that environment. So you know what happened to you and others. You know what happened to you and others in the house. But you let your daughter stay in that environment. Now, according to Janelle and Kiwana, and I have no reason to think Janelle would be lying, according to them, they did try to get Naziah. They did. And even the Cowardly Lion spoke on Vari and Naziah coming to stay, with him and Florentino. So everybody was active in Naziah's life. You got Kiwana and Janelle wanting to get her, take her to a safer environment. You got the Cowardly Lion having Vari and Naziah staying with him at Florentino. You got the monster that she feels this comfortable with. Some of y'all might say, but Shank, he groomed her. Shank, he took advantage of her. And that may be so. That may be so. But why wasn't her mother there for her to reach out to? Appreciate the super chat, Jaquetta. When we go to George Floyd, appreciate the super sticker, Dre. George Floyd, when the cop had his knee on George Floyd's neck, he called out for his mother. My man, Tyree Nichols, down there in Memphis, Tennessee. And the list goes on and on. Everybody. These are the people that everybody calls out for when they get in trouble. They call out for God. They call out for Jesus or Allah or Jehovah, whatever name of their God. But they call out for their God, right? And they call out for mama. All of us. But Naziah didn't have her mother to call out for. So, lady, where you at? And in my opinion, let me clear this up from my perspective. This is just my perspective, all right? This ain't law, and this ain't facts. Somebody might come behind me and say, Shank, I disagree with you. But my opinion, when Kiwana and Kenya came on my panel, Kiwana nor Kenya didn't come on my panel to be messy. And I didn't allow them to be on my panel to be messy. That, and it still is issues with this family. Kiwana and Kenya had some things to get off of their chests. They had some things to get off of their chests. They both emotional. They both angry. So when they were on my panel, that's why I let them vent. That's why I let them get everything that they needed to get off of their chest. I allowed them to get it off of their chest. We got to be careful. We got to be careful when people are venting. We got to be careful what we say when people are venting. It was between two family members, two ladies that needed to get some things off of their chest. And they got it off of their chest. Some things came out. Both sides said some things that nobody knew about. Nobody knew about it. But back to Naziah's mom, lady. If you could be there because you knew what was going on with Naziah, you knew exactly what was going on. Just like you knew and you know what's going on with Vari. But you're more concerned about Aha. You're more concerned about the streets than you are your children. I just got to call a spade a spade. I got to call a spade a spade. I got to call a spade, y'all.
The witness has identified the defendant, Jarvis Butts, in this matter.
So reflective.
Thank you. And how long, you said he was your fiance.
Yes.
How long in total have you known Mr. Butts?
4 years.
And-
Since 2019.
2019?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And when did you become engaged?
2023.
And can you tell us a little bit about the nature of that relationship? Do you have any children with him? Things
No.
like that.
No children.
Okay. And would Mr. Butts sometimes stay over at your house?
Yes.
How often would that happen?
Pretty often, but we didn't live together.
Okay. I want to take your attention back to January of 2024 and February of 2024. Did there come a time when Jarvis Butts asked you to drive him to court?
Yes.
And when was that?
February 7th.
Of 24?
Yes.
And was there a time before that that you had to drive him to court?
Yes.
And when was that?
January, I think it was the 9th.
Okay.
It was in January.
So you've at least driven him to court twice?
Yes.
And let's talk about the January 9th date that you drove him. What was the reason he wasn't driving himself? Why were you driving him?
Because he thought he was gonna have to turn himself in then for another case, and then they rescheduled it.
Okay, so on the 9th, he was supposed to turn himself in, but didn't actually end up doing that.
Correct.
Okay. And then on the 7th, did he ask you to drive him to court again?
Yes,
And what was the reason that you drove him to court on the 7th?
because he was supposed to turn himself in.
And did he end up turning himself in on the 7th?
Yes.
Okay. When you were driving him on the 7th of February 2024, first, what kind of car do you drive?
2005 Suburban,
And what color is it?
tan.
And when you were driving him to court, who else was with you, if anyone?
Nobody.
Just you and Mr. Butts?
Yes.
And when you were driving him to court, did you ask him about his cell phone?
Yes.
What did you ask him?
I said, "Where's your phone?"
And what was his response when you asked him that question?
He left it at home.
And I'm going to stop it right there. And I'm going to take this comment from Charlotte. Charlotte says, and so that goes back with the content creators say, Naziah, family always come out and are out their business. Then they want to get mad at the content creators. And this is what I'm saying. Y'all can't get mad at us content creators. The family members can't get mad at us content creators. the subscribers. Y'all can't get mad at us content creators. And in my opinion, like I said, other people might feel differently. But in my opinion, I don't think Kiwana, Janelle, Roxy, Kenya, I don't think y'all are being messy when y'all come on social media. Now, y'all might think so, and other people might think so, but I don't. I don't think y'all are being messy. But don't let people, because even Kenya, Roxy, Kiwana, and Janelle, now I'm speaking to y'all four. Y'all got to be careful because y'all four are the family members that's coming out and being vocal about it, right? But what about the other family members that y'all know? See, the family members that know what's going on and don't want to be exposed, they don't want us content creators talking about it, and they don't want Janelle, Kiwana, Kenya, and Roxy. They don't want them four talking about it because they know the content creators and subscribers, we are only taking in information from secondhand source. But Kiwana, Janelle, Kenya, and Roxy, they know what family members have done what to who. So in my opinion, Roxy, Kenya, Kiwana, Janelle, speak y'all piece. Speak y'all piece. Y'all not the ones that failed Naziah Harris. Kiwana, you didn't fail Naziah. Janelle, you didn't fail her. Roxy didn't fail her. Kenya didn't fail her. And I told everybody with Roxy, I said from the very beginning, and I still stand 10 toes down for Roxy. I've always said, I believe Roxy and I ride with Roxy because the same thing that people have been saying about Roxy being a clout chaser, Roxy only doing it for the money, the same thing that people were saying about Roxy, don't they say it about us content creators? Don't they say it about us content creators? One thing that I know about people that speak the truth, one thing I know, they always get shot down. Always. It's always a reason why the people that speak the truth. It's always. But it can never be the reason why the people are speaking the truth is because the truth shall set you free. Last time I checked, they crucified and they stoned an innocent man for doing what? For speaking the truth. They wanted him to stop. Yes or no? Called them all kind of names. All because he was speaking the truth.
And did you have any other conversation regarding his phone on the 7th when you were driving him to court?
No.
And what did you said he did turn himself in?
Yes.
And so you drove back home, correct?
Yes.
Did you eventually have some contact with the police department?
Yes.
And where were you when you had that contact?
In the hospital.
And what did they ask you about generally?
Did I know anything about a missing child?
And do you know anything about missing child?
No.
What are y'all thoughts on the fiance? Do y'all think that the fiance knew about Naziah being missing? Drop a 3 if y'all think the fiance knew. Drop a 3. Drop a 4 if you think she didn't know. I'm going to take a few comments. Yes, Carolyn, Kenyatta need to get her ish together for the sake of her daughter. Yes, Ms. Parker, I got my pen for the notes. Yes, yes, yes. I believe Roxy is real. Roxy is for Naziah. She is the one that's really trying to find her cousin. And I believe that's my opinion. And everybody is entitled to their opinion. And I don't want my opinion to be the opinions of others. I want, if y'all disagree, that's fine. We agree to disagree over here. All right. So I don't want nobody to feel like y'all got to agree with Shank Rock. No, I think the fiance was the only one in the dark. All right. We got some fours. We got some fours. Yeah, she knew too, Shank. All right. Because it's going to come out in her testimony. I wonder why she was in the hospital. From what I've seen, they are older now, but I believe Roxy mom raised her kids just from what I have been seeing, my opinion. We got some 3. Beautiful Soul dropped the 3. Kimberly dropped the 4. So it's basically even. CPS and the ones inside their household are at fault. They the ones who could have prevented Monster Butts from entering that home, even the state. They knew his record and still let him roam free. And it comes back to Lady. It comes back to the mother of Naziah. And I got to say, allegedly, Lady had some involvement with Jarvis. One way or another, Lady, Naziah's mother, knew Jarvis's MO. She knew that Jarvis was a SO. She knew that Jarvis was a SO. She was somewhere running around chasing a high. She was running around chasing a high, knowing, and like I said, not only did she know about Jarvis, she knew about everybody else. And let me say this, okay, because some of y'all might come in late, or some of y'all might just look at the title and just be focusing on the title. Miss Annette and Shannon, they are definitely responsible. Y'all will have to go down my catalog and look at my demonstrations that I've done on Miss Annette and Shannon. But I can't stay on Annette and Shannon. Every demonstration I do can't be about the same thing. All right? I got to move around. I don't believe in 20 demonstrations. I'm talking about the same thing. I'm on one person. No. So I'm on Lady right now. And if you've been following me, this is my first time holding Lady accountable. So let me hold Lady accountable. All right? Backtrack my demonstrations and get the ones when I'm coming for Miss Annette and Shannon. All right? But I'm holding Lady accountable on this demonstration.
Did they ask you about his cell phone?
Yeah, I believe so.
And did you know or have any reason to believe, other than what Jarvis told you, that his phone was someplace else?
No.
And did you know that his phone was in your car?
No.
Did you give permission to the police to search your car?
No, they just came and took it.
They had a search warrant?
Yeah.
Okay. And were you present at your house when they came and took your car?
No.
And did you observe them search through your car and pull anything out?
No.
Okay.
So she don't know nothing. She's according to her in her testimony, she's in the dark. But let me address this. Karen says she couldn't do a thing about nothing. Put the blame where it belongs, Shank. Drop a 5, because maybe I'm not understanding. But drop a 5 if you agree with Karen. Drop a 6 if you disagree. Karen says she couldn't do a thing about nothing. Put the blame where it belongs, Shane. Drop a 5 if you agree with Kern. Drop a 6 if you disagree. She's her mother, so it's a lot that she could have done. You know what I mean? And let's put it in its proper perspective. It's a lot that lady could have done. She's her mother. She knew what she was going through. She could have. Let me say this to you, Karen. What lady could have done, lady could have got herself together, right? Lady could have got herself. There's all kind of treatment programs for drug users. So to say that lady couldn't have done nothing is suspect. She could have got herself clean. There are many of people that have been addicted to drugs that got cleaned. Usually, when people have children, that's what makes them get their life together, okay? She had no rights. But whose fault is that, Karen? Whose fault is that lady didn't have no rights? See, you talking to somebody that turned his life around for the sake of my children. When I started having children, I wanted to be a father to my children, so I stopped getting high. I stopped drinking. I stopped running the streets. And I'm sure there are many more just like me that stopped getting high and stopped the street life for the sake of their children. I mean, come on now. She was a parent first. Appreciate that super sticker intentionally for me. She was a parent first. And as a parent, it's your responsibility to take care of your children. You could come up on the panel with me. My panel is always open. You could come up on my panel with me, Karen. You don't even got to turn your camera on. Do like this. Turn your camera off. I would love to hear your side. It's an open panel. Everybody's opinion is welcome over here. But to sit up there and say that it was nothing that this mother could do, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I get all of that. It's hard for a druggie. I get all of that. But there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people that got high that no longer get high. And I don't want to put nobody's business out there. Give me one. I don't want to put nobody's business out there, but I could get my day one friend Pee-wee to join me on the panel. And Pee-wee will tell you. And Pee-wee been getting high. Pee-wee was getting high ever since he was 12 or 13. Pee-wee got off drugs. Big shout out to my day one Pee-wee. Nobody in a million years, Pee-wee even felt like he would never stop getting high. Appreciate that super chat, Lady J. Salute to everyone. Was that question for the lady on the stand or Naziah C. Larry? Let me get back to the fiance. You could talk to the chat if you want to, Karen, but I gotta move past your question. I think it was a legitimate question, though. I don't want you to feel disrespected. I think it was a legitimate question. That's why I acknowledged it and I answered it to the best of my ability. So maybe the chat can finish talking with you. But let's move forward, y'all.
May I have one moment, Judge?
Yes.
And you said you knew Jarvis Butts for 4 years?
Yes,
And would you communicate with him via cell phone?
yes.
And do you know the last 4 digits of his phone number, if you remember?
Nine,
If you don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay. With looking at text messages, refresh your memory?
yes.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
If you could just look at the phone numbers on
The first one,
and does that refresh your memory?
yes.
And what were the last 4 digits of Jarvis Butts' phone number?
8719.
At some point after you dropped Jarvis Butts off at the courthouse and he turned himself in, did you go to his place of employment on at 9000 Connors?
No,
Okay, did you ever talk to his business partner, Cordell Wright?
no.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Morning, Ms. Davis.
Good one.
You met Mr. Butts at Frank's Garage, is that right?
Yes.
And that's where Mr. Butts was working about 4 years ago.
Yes,
You had taken your car there,
yes,
and I think in your words you said you kind of never left after you met him. Is that
Right.
fair to say?
Yes.
You guys got along really well?
Yes.
And you just kind of started a relationship from there?
yes,
Would you go up to the garage after that relationship started,
yes,
kind of just to drop in?
yes.
At any point in time while you were at Frank's Garage, did you ever see any children there?
No,
Is it fair to say that Mr. Butts was very protective of his phone around you?
yes,
He would never let you see his phone screen,
no,
wouldn't give you access,
No.
certainly didn't give you his passcode or anything. In fact, you've actually actively tried to get into his phone, right?
Yes.
I think you had mentioned that when he was sleeping, you tried to kind of wave it in front of him to see if
Yes.
that would unlock it.
mhm,
You took a picture of his face once and tried to
yes,
put the screens together. So you wanted to know what was in his phone.
yes,
And he did not want you to know what was in his phone,
no,
as far as you know?
mhm,
Is that a yes?
yes,
Did you ever talk to him about why he was so secretive with his phone?
yes,
And does it have something to do with the fact that he was seeing other ladies?
yes,
And you suspected that at the time,
yes,
and so that's why you were looking for proof?
correct.
Okay.
Hello. My name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us.
To me, and y'all help me understand, she seems sincere. She does. She does. She seems sincere. The fiance seems sincere. And she seems like she has been in the dark. Most of the times, not all, but most of the times, men, we keep our wifey, we keep our main girl, whoever it is that's our main girl, we keep them in the dark. I know my days when I was running the streets, my criminal activities, I kept away from my main girl. I did. And most of my homies and other dudes that I know that was out there in the streets, you know, we kept our dirt away from home. Wifey ain't have a clue of what was going on. So she seems sincere. She does.
So even though you suspected that Mr. Butts was unfaithful to you, you still stayed with him.
Yes,
One reason for that is because he was good with the kids.
yes,
He cared for your kids.
yes,
He took them places.
yes,
He took your son up to the shop.
yes,
He showed him how to change the oil in the car.
correct.
And you viewed him as a good father figure.
Yes,
You Did you ever see anything inappropriate or that would cause you to see a red flag with regard to him and your children?
No.
Did you ever see him acting inappropriately with any other children?
No.
Certainly, if you had, you would not have allowed him in your house.
Oh,
Fair to say?
absolutely not.
She seems sincere. I dropped the link. I dropped the blue StreamYard link. If anyone would like to join me on the panel, feel free to click on the blue StreamYard link and join me on the panel. Karen, I'm waiting for you to join me on the panel. Anybody else that want to join me on the panel, please feel free. Tuda says Jarvis probably called her all types of names and to stay in her lane. She knew he was cheating but had no fight. She was just happy to say he was her fiance. How many of y'all believe that? Olivia says, I believe this lady. She seems like she stays in the dark. To Bless says, oh, good. I'm glad. Thank God. Beautiful Soul says he know how to pick them. Yeah. Let me let y'all see. If y'all haven't already seen his women, those are some of his women. And there you see Tatiana Davis. That's the woman, that's the fiance that's speaking. So he definitely knew how to pick them. So now the question is, did she know? How much did she know? A good father figure. She got a head full of bubbles. Salute 504. Appreciate you for pulling up. We got the spectacular Miss Parker. Shout out to Miss Parker. Appreciate you for joining me on the panel, Miss Parker. Talk to us, Miss Parker.
Real quick, out of everybody through this preliminary, Tashiana really didn't know anything. And you right about the secondhand, because I've heard that from, secondhand. She really didn't, he didn't trust her and stuff. And I mean, we gotta thank y'all with Tashiana. She only seen him 8 days out of a month. So for 26 to 27 days, she didn't even know where he was. You know what I'm saying? So of course, she definitely didn't know anything, and he kept her, you know what I'm saying? Even when she called, Jarvis said himself that she's simply fucking retarded. You know what I'm saying? And, Shannon was his go-to. The ones that up kept his lifestyle and allowed this for so long, she's really oblivious and stuff like that. And with this, I still don't give her credit because afterward, now she was slow up until the point of, you're here. With you having children, you're here. So that's not just saying you're here to testify. He put you and your children at risk for potentially being in jail for this young lady being missing. But yet, here you are. And not only here you are, you know what I'm saying? After all of this, you called him. You're on a text app while he's in jail. And excuse me, y'all, my voice, I don't feel too good, but you calling him and you like, oh, I heard you got a bad. Fuck Shank. I mean, some things it's just like these caliber of women that he picked, they're chosen. Jarvis chose the ones that was just like him. Jarvis chose the ones that are just like him. And it's more. She's not the only one. It's more women that are just like her. Lost to the fact that you allowed a monster in your kid. Did Jarvis do things with your kids? Yes. Did he take your kids places by himself? Yes. I mean, like I would have been crying, Shank. I'm just being honest. Once I realized why I'm here, I couldn't even I'm scared to go home and have to face my kids and ask them those hard questions about did he touch them.
And let me just say this real quick, Ms. Parker. I will say this, men. We choose whatever lifestyle we live in. We choose certain females. Let me take this super chat. Appreciate the super chat, Lady J. That's the only reason why I asked the question, because after a mem of chat MD come, you asked the chat to type a number, so I wanted to answer correctly. Appreciate you, Lady J. Appreciate you, Lady J. But me, when I'm moving like that, certain females I'm going to select. Certain females I'm going to stay away from. Whatever it is I got going on, my stable of women is going to fit whatever it is I got going on. His stable, no disrespect to his stable, but his stable was women with low self-esteem.
Hell yes, disrespect to them. Shit, yes it is.
Lady V says, wait a minute, Paul. Is she the girlfriend that asked Jarvis, do they know about me?
No, that ain't her. That's the baby mother. Tashiana wasn't the baby mother and stuff. You know, Jarvis had an alibi. He used these women for alibis to move around and be able to maneuver to touch their kids to you know what I'm saying, get in good. And that's why I said once I get that knock at the door, Shane, and they tell me why they're there, it's gonna be hard to grasp what they're saying to me, because only thing I'm gonna think about is my children. And this is when you get your shit together. This is when you start big upping yourself. This is when the low self-esteem comes out the window. You start big upping yourself so this won't happen again. Because with each and every one of those pictures you just showed, this is gonna happen again. Because of the fact that after, like I said, this preliminary, you went and called him. You started doing a text app with that man on that tablet. You questioning him about babies. So this is why the chat is conflicted. People not even in your chat are going to be conflicted like she knew, because you're worried about a baby instead of the one that's missing. You wonder why it would, not only will it shoot down my esteem, but to know that it's so much to it. Also, the 26 days I didn't get to see him. The 27 days I didn't get to see him. He was laying up with kids. You know how disgusted I would feel as a woman? And I would feel like I failed my children, my own children. Because were we not seeing the red flags as these women? Were y'all not seeing the signs? I mean, hell, the 4 days out of a month was enough for me to even, I would have been embarrassed to tell him I was his fiance. Let's start there. Let's just start there. The self-esteem's gone. Jarvis didn't even have a stable. This is sick individual women that are so focused on a man that they lost sight of their households. Because once they said you allowed him to be alone with your kids, a tear would have dropped out of my eye. Every time they say something about him and I'm on that stand, I'm telling you, I'd have been like Tijuana Butts. They were supposed to be the ones crying, not Tijuana Butts. They ass. Because I got to think about my kids again. A lot of these kids ain't even old enough to know where they're going to be at in 5 to 10 years, Shane. I'm just being honest. A lot of they too young to know trauma. They too young to know the thoughts that's running in the back of their heads and the inappropriate things they're going to start doing. They're too young. But you are still in contact, so that lets me know. See, those are just if you still, even though you didn't know, you're just as at fault when it comes to the things he done to Naziah and so many other children, even their own. So we can't give none of them credit. We just can't.
Britt, appreciate that super chat. Britt says, how do you feel about Lady, Miss Parker?
Honestly, I'm a recovering addict. And I did what I had to do because I missed so much in my kids. I told Toot Uncensored today. Me and Toot was talking. And I told Toot today, I loved her story and I loved her bars and black diamonds and I heard a child when Toot sung in Black Diamonds, some of the things she said, I heard a child trying to help a community not to deal with what she dealt with as a child. But I'm a recovering addict, and at some point in life, I started missing out so many important things with my children, y'all. And it's just me being honest. I was missing out on my kids developing, not knowing what minstrels was. These are my daughters. Things that affect my children in real life. Birthdays, holidays, plays. Wanting to see their mother somewhere in the crowded school for something. This is why this case is, I gave Lady credit for a second because I understand the demon. And I told Tooth that too. I said, when you on drugs, you're in another realm of life. What's supposed to matter to us don't. Only thing matters to us is a high. But at some point in life, when your kids cry, and I start to feel the distance and the hate my kids started having for me. I started feeling the hate my kids started having for me. And it was the hardest pill to swallow more than the drugs that I was taking in my body. And I refused to let that demon keep overtaking my life away from my children because they didn't deserve that. So I fixed it. Now, Lady don't get credit, y'all, because her child is missing. And one thing about it we can't do and people couldn't do for me was coddle me. I had to want to get fixed. I had to want it to get clean. Nobody else could fix me but me. And right now, she's losing not one child, but two to the streets. She's passing her son to the same demon that she passed Naziah to. And that's Vari in where she's at now in the street. She passed Naziah to that monstrous demonic home. And she's passing Vari to the demonic demon that she's battling in the street. Again, I'm a recovering addict. It never changes. I'm just in recovery. But this is all the more reason for them to stop saying she's too far gone. We're never too far gone until God take us the fuck up out of here, Shane. You hear me?
You're right.
Until God take that last breath out of her body, she is not too far gone.
You're right.
Okay?
You're right.
Now with that, I'm stepping out because I'm getting upset.
You're right, Miss Parker. As always, you're always on point. You always, hit the nail on the head. Like I was one of those that was giving Lady a pass. I raised my hand, y'all. I can't give her a pass no longer because now her son is involved in some foolishness behind her. Come on, Miss Parker.
You know how many mothers in this chat and mothers I see in Toots chat and Mo, because I just got to be honest, and everybody's chatting, they lost their child. And it didn't have to be like this, but these mothers be crying in the chat because they lost their child. This story gravitates to people for different reasons. Everybody hasn't been touched. Everybody ain't dealing, but some kind of trauma brings these people to this story for Naziah. And these mothers be down in that chat hurting. And when you can't help them, when you ain't got that word, because I don't know what it's like to lose a child. So I don't know what it's like. And I pray that it don't happen to me, that God takes me out of here before my kids. But I see these mothers in this chats all the time crying, wishing that they baby could just, walk in the door and, I be seeing them say that it's a dream to them, like they can't escape their reality of knowing their child will never come back, Shane. And it hurts. So when you lose a child, man, this is the time. And this is the time when the family got to stop the arguing. Go get her together. Have that talk. Hey, this is the time to get clean. You know what I'm saying? We're here to help you. But we can't help you if you don't want to help yourself. And I'm telling them, I don't care what me, Kiwana, King, and them, none of us went through. This is the time. This is the time. Get off of YouTube. Get y'all family in order for the sake of this trial. For the sake of Shannon, Annette, Marquita, and Jarvis, do their time for this crime. And that's as real as I can get. Fussing with us and stuff. Go do the right thing to end this curse. Because it took this to happen to Naziah Harris to show us the curse can be broken if y'all just do the right thing. And the right thing starts now. Cause it's already y'all already damn near in this too deep. We not your family. We can't fix y'all. Even Ayana Fix My Life can't fix y'all. Y'all can fix y'all though. And in order for Lady to get fixed, it has to be a collective thing. It's got to stop being who did it, I did it. Y'all all can do it together. And right now, this baby in her last days needs y'all voice. She needs y'all for once to come together, put the demons on the table, and damn it, move forward. And pray to God that he keeps y'all to be strong throughout this process.
Let me grab this super chat real quick, Miss Parker. Appreciate you for sharing it out. Too blessed to be stressed. Lady V, appreciate it. She says, in my opinion, I don't think Lady has a maternal connection to her children based on how they were conceived. Maybe I am wrong. Hence, I don't think she feels the way a normal mother who wanted children feel. And you know what? You know what, Lady V? I agree with you. I agree with you. And that's why. That was one of the reasons why I held back from Lady. Because in the way how these children, Naziah, in the way how they were conceived, what can you speak on this, Ms. Parker, or what Lady V says?
Absolutely. It is a maternal connection. And I'm by the grace of God, y'all, I didn't lose that. You know what I'm saying? Was it times that I cared about drugs and the streets more than my kids? Absolutely. Absolutely. I cared about the streets and drugs and other things more than my children, but I never lost that maternal connection. But again, like I said, Shank, after today, I don't even got no words for them. You know what I'm saying? I'ma just cover things how I've been covering things. I ain't giving nobody no credit until they fix it. And fixing it ain't stepping in the office, talking to people at a big round table. It's fixing y'all family for the sake of this baby. We can't, what can we do more? I'll follow the lead with them. If Kiwana and them do the right thing and fix this shit, even Kenya, I'll talk to her ass. Fuck all of that. It's not worth it. But this baby getting justice is.
Let me slide in for a second, Ms. Parker. Allegedly, I gotta say allegedly, Naziah and Vari's dad, allegedly Naziah's dad is not my man that passed away, whom everybody thought. I gotta say allegedly. Annette's husband is Naziah's real dad. If that's true, so I get what Lady V is saying. If the conception, if when Naziah was conceived, if it was out of the grape, then maybe there was no connection. Maybe there was no connection. And if so, I understand. I understand.
I can't say that, Shank, and I'm not gonna put. In my opinion, I'm not gonna say that because if y'all see a picture I got on my thumbnail, one of my thumbnails, it was light in Lady's eyes when she was holding Naziah. It hurts. It was once light in Lady's eyes, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. Now I'm gonna be honest, but I'm gonna be honest all around the board. It was light in her eyes when she was holding Naziah. Somewhere along the line, Lady lost herself. She lost. But she can gain that back, Shane. She can. It's gonna be a struggle. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy.
I appreciate this super sticker,
But
Phyllis. I appreciate
it is
this
what
super
it is.
sticker, Phyllis. Let me slide in, Ms. Parker. Now, it's not us content creators being messy. See, I'm so glad that we are touching off on this. It's not that Shank and Miss Parker is being messy. It's not that the other content creators that covered this case is being messy. Some might say focusing on the family is taken away from Naziah. It's not. It's not. Because as y'all can see, that family that failed Naziah, that family has some evil, demonic-ish going on. And it was going on way before Naziah was born, and it's going to continue to go on while Naziah has passed away. Maybe, just maybe, somebody, maybe one of those family members. It may not even be the older ones. It may be one of them babies. I've always been taught this, and I give it to all of my religious folks out there, no matter what religion. I've always been taught this. God is always in the mix of it all. God can turn a negative situation into a positive situation. Do the work of God. Do the work of God. Don't worry about if the people are listening to you. Don't worry about if the people are getting it. You spread God's word and you sit back and you watch God work. That's what was always brought to my attention. So as content creators, that's all we're doing. We're doing God's work. We got to get raw. Y'all see Shank Rock? As humble as I am, I got to get raw sometimes and go to my favorite word, your funky ass, because I'm dealing with a bunch of funky ass. Some of you are funky asses. So you might come across a content creator that give it to you raw with no chaser. You might come across a content creator that give it to you with a chaser. Regardless, you can't take from none of the content creators. We are trying to break this evil, demonic-ish up so these babies, the future babies that's coming along, I have a chance. Appreciate that super chat, Tori. Catch y'all on the replay. Appreciate that, Tori. Appreciate that, Lady J, who said y'all messy, say their name. I've done a demonstration, Lady J, about the funky ass subscribers. Backtrack that for me, Lady J. You know, the funky ass subscribers that come along. This don't got nothing to do with Naziah. Yes, it does. The funky ass subscribers that come along. This can't get justice for Naziah. Yes, it can, because justice for Naziah Harris means justice for any of them children that's in that family. That's why us content creators are still raising awareness. We are raising awareness for those babies that are still in that hellhole that Naziah was talking about. We raising awareness for them babies that's coming behind. That evil demonic family gotta get broken up. Gotta get broken up. So as us content creators, don't give up the fight for justice for Naziah Harris. You keep fighting. You keep raising awareness. You keep doing your content the way you feel as though you should be doing your content. That's what make us content creators unique. That's what make us stand out. You shouldn't go to Mocha and Mocha is doing her content like Shank Rock. You shouldn't come to Shank Rock and Shank Rock is doing his content like Mocha. Let Mocha be Mocha. Let Shank be Shank. Let Cold Piece, Toot, Miss Parker, Brittany Ann, Survivor Speaks, and the list goes on and on and on. The new content creators that's coming up. There are a lot of new content creators that's coming up. Let them do their content the way that they choose to do their content. You got subscribers down here, Popcorn Conversations. You got Have You Seen Us Podcasts, and all these other subscribers that is beginning to raise awareness. Lady was functional enough to send money to get Naziah hair done in a phone. At what point was she going to say enough is enough? Both her kids missing, not in the home she left them. Facts. Facts. Appreciate this, Chris Green. You all are certainly doing the Lord's work. Justice for Naziah saved so many lives. I appreciate that. But that's why we are doing this. And we're going to continue to do this until that evil demonic family is broken up. Maybe the family members get touched by one of the content creators. Content. God is in the mix of this. Y'all do believe in God. See, I'm going to challenge. I'm a challenge those that say they believe in God. I'm a challenge those that pray. I'm a challenge those in the name of Jesus. I'm going to challenge all religion folks that watches me and all these other content creators. I remember when I said, pray for Kiwana and them, pray for Kenya. Some of y'all said, I ain't praying for them. What a funky ass subscriber. That's what you call a funky ass subscriber. We don't get to choose and pick who we pray for. If we are children of God and if we are doing the Lord's work, we pray for everyone. Now, what they and God got going on, that's them and God. But see, when you don't pray for one of God's children, guess what happens to your funky ass? Now put that in your pipe and smoke it. I say that we should pray for this family. I say that we should pray for this family. You don't have to pray for the family. Fine. I pray for them. This family needs to be broken up. This demonic family needs to be broken up. And for those family members that want change, because some of the family members want change. Some of they funky asses don't want no change. Some of they funky asses want to continue in the mud that they are in. That's fine. Keep your funky ass in the mud. But it's some of those family members that want to get out of it. Some of those family members want to come clean. And don't let nobody stop you from speaking out. That's what they want to do. See, told you, y'all need to stay out. Y'all need to stay out of. Don't go to social media. Ask yourself, why haven't they brought their funky asses to social media? I'm gonna move on, but I'll still say this. Kiwana and Janelle, they did report it. Roxy and Kenya, they are boots on ground. Every chance Roxy get, she's boots on ground. Kenya showed up at Toots and Blue Cheese video for Naziah, correct? Yes or no? That's enough for me. That's enough for me. My concern is with those men in that family. My concern is with those that didn't come out and speak. Shout out to Marquita, because Marquita did come out. Marquita didn't have to come out. Shout out to Miss Parker, because Miss Marquita was going to go on Miss Parker's panel. But Miss Parker at the time, she said, Shank, it's best for you to interview Marquita because I'm going to be biased. And Marquita got a right to speak her piece. and she spoke her piece. One thing that we all heard Marquita say, she said that we could have done better. I could have done more. See, that's the start process of healing. But some of y'all are so closed-minded. Some of y'all funky asses are so holier than thou. Some of y'all funky asses are just so far up here that you don't see the struggle of the common human being. And even when they trying to get help, your funky ass don't want them to get help. You want to keep Jesus all to yourself. I remember church folks used to say that a while ago. Church folks used to always say that. Take the handcuffs off of Jesus and share Jesus with folks that really need Jesus. Now, if you believe in God, you know it wasn't easy for your funky ass to get cleaned. See, some of y'all are so holier than thou that y'all funky asses forgot where y'all came from. Appreciate that. Have you seen this podcast? Lady still has time to get sober. God works miracles. Facts. I'm done preaching, y'all. I'm done preaching.
You knew that Mr. Butts had other children, right?
Yes,
With a woman named Angel
yes,
and a woman named Shannon.
yes,
He talked about his children with you.
yes.
Did he ever talk to you about his needs?
No,
About how often would Mr. Butts stay with you on any given week?
maybe like twice.
Were they like the same days, or was it random?
Random.
Okay. About what time would he come over?
After his work hours. After like 6 o'clock.
Okay, so you think he would come kind of straight from work?
No, he would probably do something else and then be there later on in the night.
Okay, so closer to like 9, 10?
Yes.
Okay. Would he stay the night with you?
Till about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3, and then he would leave.
Okay. Do you know how he would get to your home?
A couple of times he was in a white truck, a white Cadillac truck. Sometime I think he would walk. If he was coming straight from the shop, he would walk. Or if he had my truck, that's how we would get back and forth.
And that's the Suburban?
Yes,
Did you know Mr. Butts to ever have his own vehicle?
yes. He had a white Chrysler truck, van like.
Okay. And when did you know him to drive that?
Like maybe the first 2 years when we were together.
Okay. Now, when Mr. Butts would come visit you, would he park in your driveway?
Yes,
Would he spend weekends with you also?
yes.
1 second.
I believe her, y'all. I believe her. Appreciate that super chat, Miss Douglas. Keep moving forward until the truth is revealed, until someone speaks up and breaks this cycle. This generational curse will continue, sad but true. And that's where we're at. It's going to continue. Naziah, it won't stop at Naziah. And when you listen, let me backtrack. When I listen to Marquita, when I listen to Kiwana, Janelle, Roxy, and Kenya, when I listen to them, they want this to stop. But if you've been following the case, if you've been following this case, you know that it's out of their hand. You know that it's out of Marquita's hand, because as Dre said, and this is why it's important for y'all to backtrack these demonstrations with the family members. Don't be so quick to shoot it down. It's not irrelevant. What they got to do? Just backtrack and listen. Listen. Dre said it. Marquita and Shannon, they not going to go against Miss Annette. That's their mother. That's their mother. I mean, how many of y'all gonna go against y'all mother? And that's what y'all have to understand. Same way with Kenya. Roxy is her daughter. That's her daughter. But if we pay attention to those that came out, if we pay attention to the family members that came out, they came out for a reason. It don't gotta be clout chasing. It don't gotta be about the money. Let's stop focusing on that. See, we do the family greater harm when they do come out. We give a reason other than it being genuine. See, I could speak on it because I'm a content creator and I go through the same stuff. That's how I know. I go through the same stuff. Why it can't be genuine, generally, that they come out and speak? I'm just saying. Why it can't be that? Miss Annette ain't come out and speak. Shannon ain't come out and speak. But some of them did come out and speak. So, I'm just saying.
The future of your business is here. With Wix, you get advanced AI capabilities.
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Ms. Davis, I just have a couple more questions for you. Ms. Quick asked you about Mr. Butts being secretive with his phone. Can you tell me about a time that you had a conversation with him about him being secretive or something like that?
He would never really say anything. He talked in circles. So if you try to ask him a question, it's just always, you can never get a straight answer out of him.
But fair enough, you had multiple conversations about his phone and your access to it, I guess, or lack thereof.
Yes.
And Ms. Quick also asked you about Mr. Butts staying over the night, or staying the night at your house. You said that he would leave around 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Do you know where he would go when he would leave?
No.
Did he ever tell you where he was going?
Home.
Did you know where he himself called home?
Yes.
Where was that at?
Wilshire.
Who lived on Wilshire? Who lived on Wilshire? According to her, this is where Jarvis called home. Lady J says some of us not watching the people speaking on you or other content creators, they are sub to. Right. Who lived on Wilshire? Who lived on Wilshire? I'm going to see which transcript. I'm not going to read all of it. I think it was something in King's transcript. Give me a minute, y'all. Because I don't want to take away from Ms. Parker. I think Ms. Parker has done an excellent job reading the transcript. I think this really stood out the most.
And you said he would walk from his place of employment if he was coming straight from there, right?
Yes.
How far from that on Connors, the auto shop on Connors, do you live? How far of a walk?
No, that was when he was on Warren.
Warren and Neff?
Yes,
How far of a walk from that location?
like 4 blocks.
And did you ever see him drive but not park in your driveway or out front of
Yes.
your house? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
He parked around the corner and he would walk to my house.
And do you know
When he
the,
was in the white Cadillac truck.
you said Cadillac?
Yes.
Oh. Was that an Escalade? If you know.
I don't know.
Okay. And do you know the reason why he would park around the corner?
I don't know. I asked and he would just be like, I didn't drive.
Well, this is questionable, y'all. This was questionable. How did you know he parked around a corner, but she questioned him and she said that he said he didn't because he didn't drive. Now, which one is it? Right? I got it. I got, and she was doing, to me, she was doing so good, but this is questionable. She said he parked around the corner, right? And he walked. And then she said, he said he didn't drive. Which one is it? According to you. See, this is why it's very important to backtrack everybody. This is why it's so important to backtrack everybody. Because just when you think you about to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, they always prove you wrong. I'm going to backtrack it, y'all. She's delusional with her funky ass. Now pay attention to her.
And you said he would walk from his place of employment if he was coming straight from there, right?
Yes.
How far from that on Connors, the auto shop on Connors, do you live? How far of a walk?
No, that was when he was on Warren.
Warren and Neff?
Yes,
How far of a walk from that location?
like 4 blocks.
And did you ever see him drive but not park in your driveway or out front of
Yes.
your house? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
He parked around the corner and he would walk to my house.
And do you know
When he
the,
was in the white Cadillac truck.
you said,
And he was in the white Cadillac. He drove, parked around the corner, and he was in the white Cadillac. Now she's going to say that he said somebody dropped them off.
coming straight from there, right?
Yes.
How far from that on Connors, the auto shop on Connors, do you live? How far of a walk?
No, that was when he was on Warren.
Warren and Neff?
Yes,
How far of a walk from that location?
like 4 blocks.
And did you ever see him drive but not park in your driveway or out front of
Yes.
your house? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
He parked around the corner and he would walk to my house.
And do you know
When he
the,
was in the white Cadillac truck.
you said Cadillac?
Yes.
Oh. Was that an Escalade? If you know.
I don't know.
Okay. And do you know the reason why he would park around the corner?
I don't know. I asked and he would just be like, I didn't drive.
But then would you see his truck?
I would see the truck.
But this was his fiance for 4 years, right, V? This was his fiance for 4 years. Now, I could be wrong, but y'all help me out. Usually, in some cases, people don't live together. But usually, 4 years, usually you and your fiance is living together. Usually. Now with King and King's transcript, they asking him, would you be able to stand up so you can look around? Of course, King says, I don't see him. they question him, when did you meet Mr. Butts? He says 2018. They say, and you said you two worked together initially at a place called Frank's. He says Frank's. They say, where is Frank's at? He says he has a couple locations. He has 7. But the one I met him at was on Warren and Neff. They say Warren and Neff. Okay. And what locations of Frank's did you work at with Mr. Butts? He says Warren and Neff. Ms. Ripley, Your Honor, may I approach the court? Yes. They come back and say, and Mr. Wright, I'm approaching with people proposed exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Will you look at these and tell me if you recognize those? He says, I recognize this one, and this one. They say, okay. And are those a fair and accurate depiction of Frank's auto shops? At least 2 of them on Warren and the other one may be on Harper. He says, yes. He says, okay, which of the one that's on Harper? He says, the last one on the inside. They come back and say, and that's People's Exhibit 6. He says, yes. It says, Miss Ripley, Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's 4, 5, and 6. The court, any objection? Ms. Quick says no objection. Mr. Riggins says no objection. The court says they'll be admitted as People's 4, 5, and 6. Mr. Ripley, thank you, Judge. People's Exhibit 4, 5, and 6 admitted. Here comes Miss Ripley. How long did you work at Frank's with Mr. Butts? He says a few years. About how many years would you estimate? He says 2. They says 2, and when did it change? When did that change from Frank's to another shop? He says maybe in 23 sometime. Okay, would it be earlier in the year or later in the year? It says maybe maybe in May. Well, maybe April, May, and then where did you guys work then? He answers, we got a shop together on 9,000 Connor. And they question, and what is at 9,000 Connor? He says, a Citgo, a car wash, and our shop was in the middle of both. Ms. Ripley, Your Honor, may I approach the court? Yes. Now we're going to go to King's actual testimony. I'm going to play it for everybody. Here comes the question from Miss Ripley. Mr. Wright, I'm handing you what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibits 7 and 8. Will you look at those and tell me if you recognize them? He says, yes, I recognize them. They question, okay, and are those a fair and accurate depiction of your shop at 9,000 Connor? He says, yes, it is. It says, Ms. Ripley, in Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 7 and 8. The court, any objection? Ms. Quick, no objection. The court, it will be admitted as People's Exhibits 7 and 8. It says, Ms. Ripley, thank you. People's Exhibits 7 and 8 admitted. Question, who was it that you mainly worked with at 9,000 Connor? He says, I'm sorry. They question him. Who was it that you worked with at 9,000 Connor? He says, Jarvis. All right. Now, I believe that this is the daughter of Frank. She says, my dad didn't work at that shop. Jarvis and King was running it. That's why they were in charge of the money. Okay. Can you tell me as far as who all were allowed to work at your father's shops? Because we know Jarvis is a SO, and we know that King had SO charges on him. Did your dad only hire those with SOs on their record. All right. Let me get back to the transcript. He says, who did you, I think I read all that. Jarvis, I want you to take, all right, let me come back. Who was it that you mainly worked with at 9000 Connor? He says, I'm sorry. Who was it that you worked with at 9000 Connor? King says, Jarvis. They question, I want to take you back to when you were working at Frank's with Mr. Butts. Did you ever see Mr. Butts with any children there? He says, yes. They question, and specifically, did you see him with any young girl or children? He says, yes. They question, and did you know who those were? He says, yes. He said, they question him, who are they? Who are they? He says, his daughter and niece, right? Yes. Daughter and niece. What about any boys? Yes. Who were they? His sons. How often would you see him with his children there at Frank's? He says, sporadically. They question him, and at 9000 Connor, did you see Mr. Butts with any children then? He says, yes. Any girls? He says, yes. And who would they be? King answered him, his daughters. And what about any boys? He says, yes. Who would they be? His sons. And how often would you see him with children at 9000 Connor? Sporadically. And as it relates to this case, it's fair to say that you spoke with Detroit police a few times. He says, yes, about 4. Question, about 4 times. Okay, that first time that you talked to Detroit police, do you recall about when that was? He says, the first time was the day before Valentine's Day, so like February the 13th. February 13th, and is that of 2024? He answers, yes. They says, okay, all right. And that time, were you presented with a jail call? He says, yes. And y'all got to give me a minute. If y'all really have something that y'all would like for me to answer or read, just put it in the super chat because I can't keep up with the comments, all right? He says, okay, and who was that jail call with? He answers, Jarvis. Okay, and who was he talking to? He says, me. He says, all right. And what was the topic of that jail call? He says, he called to ask if I would receive a cell phone out of a truck for him. Question, and were you familiar with what truck he was asking you to get it from? He says, yes. They says, what truck was that? He says, it was a Z71 Chevy Suburban. They question, and did you know who that truck belonged to? Yeah, his baby mom or somebody he was dealing with. Question, and do you recall listening to that jail call? Yeah, I recall. Okay, let's go to, let me go to King. Let's go to King's. Let me grab some comments real quick, y'all. Dion, okay, I had heard that is why I asked. I live in the neighborhood. I know there's a serious shortage out here, but man, please. And that did the same thing in court, looking all around like she doesn't know what Jarvis looked like. My grandfather was friends with Jarvis' grandfather, and my dad promised to look after Jarvis, but not anymore. All right. So I got to say allegedly, this is Frank's daughter. And Frank's daughter says, my grandfather was friends with Jarvis' grandfather, and my dad promised to look after Jarvis, but not anymore. If you not going to come and speak, come try to clean anything up, just seems like another distraction and a lie. And that's where I'm at. Like, you know, you won't get bashed. But feel free to come on the panel. You don't even have to turn your camera on. But let's not come and try to distract what is going on. You know, if you come, I take it that you come to give us some information that we don't have. So let's just do it the proper way. Appreciate that, lovely. Because how do we know it's really family? Correct. And y'all remember when the alleged baby mother of Frank's came through, but wouldn't hit the link. I'll go back. Kiwana, Janelle, Roxy, Roxy was never over here, but Kiwana, Janelle, Kenya, Marquita, Dre, they hit people's panels. They hit people's panels. And that's fine. All right, caller. Salute, Virtuous. We want to know. Tiana, what's your grandfather's name? Yes, Mr. Shankrock. Tiana, oh, okay. They had a history I see different. We know Java's father at all. She says she can't at home with mom and kids. That's understandable. I won't ride down on her. That's understandable. She just said her mother and sister were there giving them respect. That's fine, Angel. That's fine. I ain't going to ride down on her. I won't ride down on her. I'm here with my mom and younger sisters. I won't speak now, but I will when I'm done. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to stress her. My mother never made an account. That's what I just said. That's fine. Where Frank tell him to come to the panel. He a grown man. Right. And that's what I said before, you know, especially with the men. Frank, Eric Gamble, pull up on me and let's talk. I will not disrespect y'all. As a man, I will respect y'all. But pull up and let's talk. Because if y'all names are out here and people are speaking on y'all names, if y'all don't have anything to hide, then I'm sure it wouldn't be nothing for y'all to pull up and get straight. But let me get to Frank's testimony, y'all. Not Frank's, King's.
Since I went to court with him last time.
Are you familiar?
One 1-800-PACK-RAT makes moving and storage simple. Whether you're moving in town or across the country, get an online quote for our secure.
All right, we're going to tap into King, y'all. Now, I read some of the transcript. Antoinette says, you always be fair, Shane. I try my best to be fair with everybody. I give everybody a chance. Appreciate that, Antoinette. We have children, mother, grandmothers, family members we care about. Couldn't been somebody we love. You got to see receipts for everything. But people keep lying, changing stories, and it's just became a necessary distraction from what matters, and that's fine, Naziah. Sorry, I'm late. I was watching Tyler Perry's new movie on Netflix. Man, I have to get myself together now. Hopefully, everyone had a good Saturday. Salute, Nords. I gotta watch it too, Miss T. Is your mom okay? We really haven't out heard anything. She came here asking for an apology to her kids once. Correct, Niecy. She came and said, Shank Rock, you owe us an apology. Appreciate that. What is the name of Tyler Perry movie? Good job. Hey, no, that wasn't my mom. As I stated, it was a fake account. All right, y'all. Let's move on to Tiana. That's crazy. Did your dad know Ja was father? All right, let's move on, y'all, to King's testimony. Some of it.
Yes. Mr. Wright, I'm approaching people's proposed exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Can you look at these and tell me if you recognize those?
I recognize this one, and this one.
Okay. And those are those a fair and accurate depiction of the Frank's Auto Shops? At least 2 of them on Warren and the other one maybe on Harper?
Yes.
Okay. Which is the one that's on Harper?
The last one of the inside.
Okay. And that's People's Exhibit, proposed exhibit 6?
Yes.
Okay. You're not moving for the admission of People's 4, 5, and 6?
Any objection? No objection. They'll be admitted as equals exhibits 4, 5, and 6.
Thank you, Judge. How long did you work at Frank's with Mr. Buck?
A few years.
About how many years would you estimate?
2.
And when did that change from Frank's to another shop?
Maybe in 23 sometime.
Okay. Would it be earlier in the year or later in the year?
Maybe mid, maybe May. Well, maybe April, May.
And then where did you guys work then?
We got a shop together on 9,000 Connor.
And what is at 9,000 Connor?
A Sicko, a car wash, and our shop was in the middle of both.
You have any approach?
Yes.
Mr. Wright, I'm handing you what's marked as people proposed exhibits 7 and 8. Can you look at those and tell me if you recognize them?
Yes, I recognize.
Okay. And are those a fair and accurate depiction of your shop at 9,000 Connor?
Yes, it is.
And you're not with the admission of people's proposed exhibits 7 and 8?
Any objection? No objection. They'll be admitted as equals exhibits 7 and 8.
Thank you, Judge. Who did you, and who was it that you mainly worked with at 9,000 Connor?
I'm sorry.
Who was it that you worked with at 9,000 Connor?
Jarvis.
I want to take you back to when you were working at Frank's with Mr. Butts. Did you ever see Mr. Butts with any children there?
Yes.
And specifically, did you see him with any young girl children?
Yes.
And did you know who those were?
Yes.
Who were they? Who were they?
His daughter, his niece.
Daughters and niece? What about any boys?
Yes.
Okay. And who were they?
His sons.
How often would you see him with the children there at Frank's?
Sporadically.
And that's fine. That's fine. Shank, I'm here for you and Ms. Parker. I don't want to answer questions about my dad's record to chat. It has nothing to do with the case. That's fine. That's fine. I won't question you. That's fine. But now the chat, I can't control the chat. Let me just say this to you. I can't control how the chat interacts with you. But that's fine. I won't ask you no questions. But once again, I can't control the chat, how they interact with you, all right? But you more than welcome to remain down there in the chat.
And at 9,000 Connor, did you see Mr. Buck with any children then?
Yes.
Any girls?
Yes.
And who would they be?
His daughter.
And what about any boys?
Yes.
Who would they be?
His sons.
And how often would you see him with children at 9,000 Connor?
Sporadic.
And as it relates to this case, it's fair to say that you spoke with Detroit police a few times?
Yes, about 4.
About 4 times? Okay. That first time that you talked to Detroit police, do you recall about when that was?
The first time was the day before Valentine's Day, so like February 13th.
February 13th, and is that of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and at that time, were you presented with a jail call?
Yes.
Okay. And who was that jail call with?
Jarvis.
Okay. And who was he talking to?
Me.
All right. And what was the topic of that jail call?
He called to ask would I receive a cell phone out of a truck for him.
And were you familiar with what truck he was asking you to get it from?
Yes.
What truck was that?
It was a Z71 Chevy Suburban.
And did you know who that truck belonged to?
Yeah, his baby mom or somebody he was dealing with.
And do you recall listening to that jail call?
Yeah, I recall.
Okay. If I, I would move to admit the jail call from, I believe it's February 8th, 2024, between Mr. Wright and Mr. Jarvis Bugs.
Any objection?
No objection.
What's the exhibit number on that?
Sorry, that's exhibit number 1.
Would you have me to ask you for exhibit 1?
Thank you, Judge. And may I publish?
Yes, I need you co-host.
Thank you, Judge.
Have you ever dreamed of building a happy family with an Asian woman? Discover a special platform to find your...
And for the record, I am playing Eagles Exhibit 1.
That's it.
This is a 1.33-minute call from an inmate at Woody County Jail. Your phone does not accept collect calls. This call has been provided by Helmet as a courtesy for friends and family. You cannot receive additional calls from this instance until you call prepaid calls. We can take your credit or debit card information over the phone and connect you immediately back to your call. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. Press 1 to accept all communications from this. Thank you for using Helmet.
Huh? My guy, what's up, man?
Not shit, man. What's happening?
Not shit, man. How you feeling? My bad, I missed your call. I was working like a motherfucker.
I figured they said you was up there banging, said something banging.
Yeah, you know it.
What's up, my nigga? Who is that, Tim? What's up, boy?
You know it.
Hey, shit. Man, I'm calling, man. Because they put my money on my fucking books, bro.
Oh yeah, take a minute when they put that shit on there, even if you walk in with it, man, they be playing it crazy.
Yeah,
I swear to God. They shoot out a machine and shit. You show you straight, you need something. I mean, I'm not getting a couple dollars for that.
Yeah, you know, I had some money on my books, nigga. I came in with money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they put this shit on my hookup. I was up under the tab and I didn't come up $0. That's some bullshit.
That shit crazy.
Yeah.
How is it though?
Man, that's some bullshit. I'm really going to quarantine on this whole shit, bro.
Oh yeah, they got you on that quarantine club for how long? 3 days?
I don't know how long, nigga. Shit, I'm about to be the only one in this bitch on my part.
You say what happened?
I said, shit, I'm about to be the number me and young enough in this motherfucker. You want these boys on this bitch, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
What you need?
Huh?
No, I was trying to tell you what that customer needs. Man, listen. You straight?
Yeah.
Huh?
So yeah, I'm good, oh shit, yeah. You got Tasha number, right?
Yeah.
So Dig, I need you to call her one day, nigga, and get that truck up there, nigga. Get my phone out there back seat, bro.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm supposed to get the truck up there. What am I tell her?
Tell her you gotta, you fuck around and lost your car that there too when we was moving the radio.
Okay.
On the seat. Now, I said this.
You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
Reach behind that back seat.
Where? Yeah.
So you reach behind that back seat, bro. There's a box right there. Straight behind the middle of that back seat, bro.
Okay, under it or in the back or in the back
In
thing?
the back, like right in the back of the seat, bro.
Okay.
On the second row.
I got I need the key. You know you took the key. You took the key to the gate.
It's the same key.
I don't got that key to it.
Yeah, you do. It's the same key to the lock and door.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, it's the same key, bro.
Now, you know I got you. I'll put the money on the phone later, man. When I get around, baby, I will put the credit card. You?
It's all about the you get them on that. I call my wife and have her break up the tea.
No, I don't need it though. If you send the same one, I got it. So I don't need it right now anyway. Just when I get the scrap out of there.
Okay.
Drop a 8. Drop a 8, y'all. If y'all agree with T-Lady, it sounds all like codes. Drop a 9 if you disagree. I'm with you, T-Lady. I believe it codes. I believe they're talking in codes, y'all. I'm only going to let a little bit more of this play. Miss Parker got a live schedule coming up. Make sure y'all pull up on Miss Parker. I'm only going to let a little bit more of this play.
Mr. Wright, were you successful in getting that cell phone from the vehicle like Mr. Bud asked you to?
She came up there, but no, I wasn't successful. It wasn't there.
Wasn't there? Okay.
When we say she, who you refer to?
Tasha,
And who's Taki that you know of?
his baby mama.
Okay. Did you look for it in the vehicle?
Yeah, I looked for it.
Okay. And you were unsuccessful in finding it?
Yes.
And Mr. Red, I want to talk to you now about the second time that you were speaking with Detroit police. Would it be fair to say that was just a couple days after your first time?
It was not long, a few weeks maybe. I was off tether at that point, I believe.
Okay. And do you recall talking about fixing a red Jaguar and going to Ypsilanti?
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna let a little bit of it play out, y'all. But on the next demonstration tomorrow, we're gonna pick up right here with King. All right. Salute everybody. Y'all can hang around in the chat for maybe another minute or two. Salute everybody. I'll see y'all over there on Miss Parker's.
Tell me about how many times did you and Mr. Butts go to Ypsilanti?
I believe it was either 2 or 3.
All right. And how did that come about? Whose red Jaguar is this?
My son's grandma.
Your son's grandma.
So she called, said she was having some problems with it and asked if we would come look at it, which is not unusual. We do house calls depending on the person and where it's located, but this is my son's grandma, so of course we're gonna make the exception. She called and said she was having problems with the car, asked if we would come look at it. Went, assessed the car at her house the first time. I think we made a minor repair there. Not to the extent that it was the problem that she was having after the fact.
Okay. So,
What if you could earn commissions simply by offering 0% interest funding to business owners? I'm Leo Cannell, the creator of The Funding Machine. I built multiple 8-figure funding companies and trained thousands of professionals on how to earn.
red Jaguar located when you guys go out to see it?
Mr. My son's grandma's driveway in Ypsilanti, off Michigan Avenue, I believe.
All right. And who goes with you out there that first time?
Jarvis?
Okay. Is it just you and Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys go out there and you assess, make a minor repair.
Yeah.
Does it completely fix the car?
For that problem, yes.
Okay. And then is there another time that you end up having to do work on this red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
She drove the Jaguar for a while. It was doing fine. And then she said it was leaking something. I asked her what it was leaking. She said she didn't know. I asked her if she could get it towed to the shop. She said, yeah.
So that's your shop at 9000 Connor?
Yes.
Okay. And who works on it at 9000 Connor?
Me and Jarvis.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing? Do you ever fixing the red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing it?
We take it back to her. I called her first and asked her how she was planning on retrieving the vehicle. She said she was going to tow it, and I didn't want to cost her no more money, so I told her that we could bring it.
Okay. And do you recall if that was on or about January 9th, 2024?
It was on.
It was on that day?
Yes.
Okay. So on that day, before you take tell me about how that day started for you.
I woke up. I typically leave the house at 6 because that's what time I could leave. So I went to the gym. I got to the shop probably around 8:30. I don't know who opened the shop. I can't really recall which one of us opened it, but Jarvis may have been there already. A few cars came in. Then the Jaguar probably got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left for a moment. I had another mechanic, being it's a foreign car, so I had a foreign car mechanic on call to help with the work, but he was busy, so he came, said he wouldn't have time to do it, so I think I Googled it, seen how it was done, and I proceeded taking the water pump off.
Okay.